Now, we are talking about Python. Now, what is Python? I'm going to make a short note here. So, okay, so the rules is that you don't code along whilst I'm coding. Okay, you just stay focused, follow what I'm doing, and then when we are done, I give you a time to also practice. So that's what we're going to do. Now, what is Python? Now we know Python as a snake, a big snake or other things. But here we're also talking about Python as something different from an animal. Okay, so Python is a name for an animal. We know a snake, a big, very fat snake. But here we are not talking about that. We are learning software development, and we are talking about Python in as it is described in software development. So Python is it's a programming language. First, it's a programming language. It's a programming language, and then again, it is also a software. So these are the two things we can talk about the Python. We have Python as a programming language, and then Python as a software. Now, let's dive into these two things. Python as a software, let's start with Python as a software. Now, Python as a software is a software that allows you to run Python code or Python or write Python language. So now before you be able to write a Python language, as I said, it's a programming language. Before you be able to write the language, you need a software that will assist you to do that. For instance, if you want to write a note, you need a notebook, you need a pen. Okay, and that is you'll be able to write inside the note with the pen. So for you to be able to write a programming language, which is Python, you need a software that will allow you to do that. Now, Python as a programming language is a user-friendly, beginner-friendly, and easy to learn language or programming language that allows you to develop software. Now, when we're talking about the software, we know the basics about software, the applications and other things. So Python falls within the three types of software or the three components of a software. That is on the website or on the internet, which is a website, on phone, which is a mobile applications, and then on computer, which is a desktop app. So with Python, you'll be able to develop a website, you'll be able to develop a desktop app, and then you also be able to develop a mobile app. You'll be able to develop a mobile app with it as well. So what are some of the software or apps that have been developed with Python? The first one, which is quite popular, is or not even quite popular. The first one I will talk about is Instagram. So Instagram is built on a Python framework called Django, and this Django is built with Python. So there is an element or there is an absolute element of Python language inside Instagram. Also, YouTube also uses Python. Okay, YouTube also uses Python. So, for instance, when you watch a certain movie over a time, or you search for certain things over a period, YouTube gets used to it and then recommend movies for you based on your earlier searches, and that is an artificial intelligence component of YouTube, which is built with Instagram. We also have Dropbox. So a Dropbox is also used. Um, Python is also used to develop a Dropbox. There are a couple of apps which are used, which we use Python to develop. Now, it is quite not clear or popular because now Python as a programming language is usually used to build the back end of an application. Okay, so when you want to build a website, you still need the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript, probably the Bootstrap or the Node I don't think you even need Node now, because Node will perform the functionalities of a Python for the back end. So you need your HTML, you need your CSS, you need your JavaScript, your Bootstrap or Tailwind, and then you continue with, if you need a framework, you either choose Django or even Web2Py, and then you use the Python to build the back end session. The back end is what you are not going to see. It is what controls the website you are looking at. But when you go into desktop applications, you're simply going to use Python. Everything is about Python. When it comes to building the desktop applications, everything is about Python. And also, you can also build entirely everything, a mobile app, everything about a mobile app with Python as well, using other Python frameworks to do that. Now, enough of the intro. So this is just a brief intro about what Python programming language is and what Python software is. Now, the first thing we need to do, so first thing first, what we need to do is to get the Python software on our system that will be able to run the Python language. So we'll go to the official Python website, that is python.org. To do that, we are going to python.org to download a Python software. So let me minimize this. I'll just go here, python.org, then good. So, well, this is the official Python website, and we have the latest version of Python. So we are going to install the latest version of Python. I have Python 3.10, probably Python 3.12 is available. So let's go and check the latest version of Python which is available. And when we scroll down here, we have the download section, which is Python 3.10.5. So this is the latest version. What happens is, as we move on, the Python organization increase or think about other things and solve other problems with the programming language. So each and every, as often as possible, they modify the Python framework or the Python language so that they'll be able to use other frameworks and other things. And currently, or previously, we were not able to run Python inside of HTML or website, but currently we can now use it to build a front end using the PyScript. So these are all the improvements that are coming in. So we are going to use the Python 3, and the different version of Python 3 is Python 3.10, that is Python 3.10 that we are going to download. Now, before then, let's check if our system already has the Python installed. So I'll just search CMD, that is command prompt. I just search command prompt, and then I will type, that is, I want to check if Python is available on my machine. I'll just type Python -v, that is version -v, and when I hit enter, let's see what version of Python I have, or whether I have or not. What's that? Okay, Python -v. Wow. Python is not defined. Why Python is not defined? So let me just say, let me exit. Okay, so Python dash, I don't know, yes, okay. So I don't know what's happened. Let me close it and then reopen it and see. CMD, it's not responding to it.
Hello.
Okay, Python is here. Python dash version. That is Python version, and you see that the version of Python I have currently is Python 3.10, but here it has been modified and updated to Python 3.10.5. So my own is the previous version, that is, I think about 3 months ago. Yeah, so it is good that I update to Python 3.1.0.5. So when you don't have Python installed, it will just tell you that Python. Okay. Okay. All right. I hope now we can see. So this is what I'm talking about. Now, this is the official website of Python. That is python.org. And when we are on Python.org, we have the download session. And on the download session, we can see the latest version of Python. That is Python 3.10.5. Python 3.10.5. That is the latest version of Python. Now, I want us to check if we already have Python installed. So with the benefit of the doubt, let's go to CMD and check if we have Python installed. So we just do Python -- version. Okay, Python version -- version, hit enter. And now you can see that I have Python 3.10, 3.10.1 installed on my machine, whilst the latest version is Python 3.10.5. So I can choose to update it. I can choose to keep this one. It will still run correctly for me. But the only thing we are not going to consider is when you have Python 2. We are not going to use Python 2 for this, so we are not going to install Python 2. We'll just install the latest version of what? Python 3. So now, as you have here, we're going to download the software, Python 3.10.5, and then we hit on this button, and then it will just download for us. Python 3.10.5 will download for us. So let's go through the installation. Let's go through the download together. If currently you are allowed to do the download as my own is downloading, so you can just do the download. When you are done, just send to me on the chat that you are done. So I can see somebody's hand up, and you can talk. So if you are done downloading, let me know. Let me know, because mine has also finished downloading. Okay, so because I want us to go through the installation together. Some of you have it already, so I may move on. So
please wait. We have to download the Python right now.
Okay, so now let's go through the installation together. Now, whilst we have downloaded it already, we can just open it from here. But maybe you already have it. So let's go through where we have Python downloaded. That is the downloads folder. It will be in the downloads folder. So we will just go and double click on it. Now I already have it installed, so I may choose to continue or not. Then I'll click on run. Now here it is telling me to either upgrade it or customize the installation, because I already have it installed. So I want to upgrade it. I want to just upgrade it, and then it will just install for me. Now, if you don't have it installed, take a critical look at this. When you are running Python, the second stage will be installed, as mine appeared to be upgrade. But when you go to the next stage, you will see a portion which says add Python to path. Add Python to path. let me go and then search for the installation. Then I'll show you that picture, Python installation. Then I'll show you that picture. Let me go to, oh no, images. Good. I have an image like this here. Let me just save the image. And then I'll open that image for you to see. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Where is it? Wait. Okay, so this is a picture of installing the Python. Now, when you get here, you see that you have installed now, you have customized installation. My own appeared to be upgrade. So below this, you have add Python. This one is 3.8 to path. So you must make sure that you check inside that box. You check inside that box, else you'll not be able to run the Python. So make sure that you have Python added to path. And then that is, you check inside that box. And then after that, you just click on install now to install it. So you must make sure that you have add Python 3.10.5 to path, and then you just install that one. So let's wait as you install it. When it is done install, you let me know in the chat. Are we done installing? Is it done installing, or we have a challenge? Now, when you're done installing, you're supposed to see this picture. That is, setup was successful. Okay, are we done the installation? Let me know from the chat. you are supposed to see this picture. Setup was successful. Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll now close it. Now you can see that here you can now come back and check the version of Python you have by typing Python -- version. And now you can see that I now have Python 3.10.5. Earlier I had Python 3.10.1. Now I upgraded it. So you also have to get Python 3.10.5. I upgraded it so that you'll be able to get the same version as you, so that we'll be able to follow along successfully. Good. Now we have the Python software installed, which means that now we can type a Python command. So on the CMD, that is the command prompt, let's just type Python. If we now type Python, you can see that our command prompt has now turned into Python shell. Here it is no more the command prompt, it has turned into a Python shell, which means that we can now write a Python language inside of the CMD. That is the command prompt. So here, if you know about any Python command that you want to write, you can write it here and then it will be executed for you. So one of the popular Python code we know is the print function. So now my CMD, that is command prompt, is now a Python shell. So I can now write a Python code like print and then write what I want to write, hello world, inside the quotation mark right now. And then it will be printed for me. Now I have typed print hello world, and print is a Python command or a Python function which allows what you type inside to be executed. So now I have hello world printed. I can also print, use it as a calculation. So maybe print 2 plus 4. Then I will say, you see that it is now 6 here. Now it is now a Python shell that I'll be able to write the Python language inside of the command prompt. But there is a very difficult way of using Python or developing a software. So this brings in mind what we call the text editor. The text editor allows us to write a Python code easily and execute them very easily. And then with all the visuals and other things, you'll be able to run a successful Python code. So the code editor we are going to use is a Visual Studio Code. There are a lot of them. We have the PyCharm, we have the Sublime Text, Atom, and other things. But here we prefer to use the Visual Studio Code because it's very user-friendly and it is suitable for our Windows machine because it's built by Microsoft anyway. So we will go online again and type code.visualstudio.com. So you can see code.visualstudio.com is here. I'll just copy it and then send it to you. So I'll just hit enter side of the chat. I'll just send that to you. You just click on it and then code.visualstudio. And this is how Visual Studio looks like. I can choose to use the online version or I can download it. The advantage is that with the online version, I will always need an internet to get access to it. But with the offline, I just use it and then I'll just move on. So you can use it online or offline. Good. So now I have the stable version. If you are using Mac, you download the Mac version. Linux, you download Linux. Here we are using Windows, so I think all of us are using Windows. So we just hit on the download version and then the download button, and then VS will download for us. So let's go through that download and then installation, and then we'll come back to the program. So let's do that. If you already have it installed, let me know. Then we'll move on. If you already have it installed, let me know from the chat. I know some of you have it installed. Irene, do you already have it installed? I think even if you have, you may have. I don't know. Mr. Ike already has it, so let me know if. Okay, so if not yet, let's download it and then let's come back and then do other things. So I already have it installed, so I'll just, now we are done. So we are not going to use the platform again. So let me close it and then close this one. Okay, whilst we are downloading it, we can just create a folder on our system to hold all our projects, all the projects we are going to do. We are just going to create a folder for it. So I'm just going to create my folder, like my new folder. Then I'll call it Python. So what's that? Python -SDC. And then I'll keep all my projects in this Python folder so that I'll be able to keep track of the project. Okay, so once you have, let me close this and then get. So this is how VS Code looks like. I already have project built in, so I'll just, and this is a Django project that I've built. So let me use a new window. Close, oh no, I'll close this one. I'll close this one. So this is what you are supposed to get when you open VS Code. Now we can now write a Python program or a code inside of this, but not yet. Now we need to integrate Python into our VS Code. It already understands Python, but now we need to integrate it. So we'll go to the extensions panel. So the extensions one is the last button here. When we click on the extensions, we want to run Python very easily. So we just go and search for Python. There is an extension for Python that can be integrated in VS Code for us to run Python easily, and that is I already have it installed. So here, this is the extension we're talking about. So when you see this one, you can just hit on install. Mine is already installed, so it says uninstall, but I don't want to uninstall it. So I have Python already here. So you search for Python, and then you click on install here. Okay. So even here, there is another one, Python for VS Code. You can choose to install this one or not. But the most important part is the first one. The first one, you can install this one, or you can nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. You can just install it. So that is the only thing we are going to install. That is the Python extension for VS Code is going to be what we will install. So now when you are done, you just get this, and then I told you to create a folder wherever you want to keep it, and then you can now come and say open folder. And when you click on open folder, you go into where you have your folder. This is it, because we want to keep all the projects inside that folder. We'll now select folder, and we have the folder inside our VS Code. So now we are going to create our first Python program. and then print whatever we did in the shell, the Python shell we are going to do here. So I'll just say create a new file, and then here VS Code understands it, so it will just ask you to select the language. So let me say I want to use Python, so I'll just go down and then search for Python. I have Python here. I'll select Python, and then I will save it. So now let me save it. Or you can just simply come here. There's another way of creating it. You can just simply come here, click on this new file, and then type the name you want to give to it. So I'll just say app. My name is the name of the project I'm creating is an app, but there should be an extension. VS Code understand there are HTML, there is a CSS, there is a JS, there is other things. I need to specify what app I'm creating. I'm creating a Python app, so I need to add .py. The .py extension will specify that it's a Python project. So I'll just hit enter, and then I have my first Python project done. Okay, so now here on the shell, we wrote print and then we did some calculations. So here I'm going to use the same function here. So I'll just go and I'll just write print hello world. Now you see that typing in VS Code is very fast because it understands it and gives you the edge, the graphics and everything, specify what you are writing. So you can see that, let me highlight it so that you can see it. Okay. Let me zoom out. So you can see that there are different colors for the functions or the code you are writing. We have the print being blue and then the string or the text being a colored one. So now we make sure that our VS Code is set to auto save. So we come to file and then we come to auto save and then we just check on that. So whilst we have written a Python code like this, now we can run it. We want it to run to see what we did in the Visual Studio in the shell. So that's what we are going to do. So we just come to run, and then it will give us an option whether to run without debugging or start debugging. So just choose run without debugging. Just okay. Python, my Python extension. What happened? What happened to? Okay.